Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's 601 check-in. And uh, I'm kind of hoping that I made sure that I'm doing this on the church's page and not my own personal page, because for some reason I'm blanking on what Facebook page I was on whenever I started this. Anyways, we'll find out when I'm done. So as far as announcements, uh, this this Saturday is going to be the Disciples of Christ virtual gathering. There is a link to that in the newsletter that went out, and I'm sure that we'll get something on Facebook and social media here soon, so everybody has access to that. And I'm hopefully going to be joining in on that. Hello, Ruth. It's nice to. Well, I want to say it's nice to see you, but I'm not actually seeing you anything past your comment. I did want to talk just a little bit about what is going on with the church because, as many of you know, we decided to go to online only worship services and programs for the next few weeks. And obviously, the number one concern with that is COVID-19 and the rise in infections, and just the numbers are going up for a number of people that are getting COVID, to include vaccinated people. And that is certainly a concern since one of our pastoral staff has had COVID now in the last couple weeks, and since there is only one pastoral person on staff at the moment, since James is on sabbatical, yes, that was me, and I was vaccinated back in April, but I still caught COVID. I am recovering, and well, I think I am recovered. I haven't had symptoms for over a week, and so I believe I'm going to double check before I show up to help with the service this Sunday that I am free to be in front of people by next Sunday. So that is why I haven't been there the last couple Sundays, is because I've been recovering. I really didn't have it too bad, and I'm very thankful that I was vaccinated, because I've heard that it can be a lot worse. But the reason that the church is doing online services is more than just because somebody caught COVID, but also right now we're having issues with our air conditioning, which means we aren't able to circulate the air as well as what is needed, especially for helping prevent the spread of COVID. And so with that, well, on top of that, the sanctuary is way too hot to use, so we've been using the chapel as well, and the chapel is much smaller and a much more difficult place to social distance. The chapel will only fit maybe 10 people if we're strategic for social distancing. And so it was just a much better choice to go online, keep everyone safe, and allow things to, I guess, level out and see where things are going, and to reassess in a few weeks. The reopening task force is meeting again in just a couple weeks, and another decision about what we do next will be made. And that's just it. It was the best choice for where we're at and what we are going through at the moment. And so that was kind of what was behind that decision of going to online only, is the rise in COVID, but also the inability to social distance and to circulate the air properly to use larger facilities at the church. with that said, there are some other programs that are going on in the church that haven't been interrupted. I believe Child's Thrift is still planning on opening here soon. The Jewish kids group, they're still using the church. None of that has been canceled. It's just we're not wanting people to come in person and have to worry about dealing with social distancing in tiny spaces. So that is what's going on with all of that. This Sunday, Barbara Sims King is going to be preaching. She has chosen to preach on Rahab, which I'm excited about because Rahab is one of like a really she's a really cool character, and like I kind of fangirl over her a little bit because there's like so much not known about her, and a lot of what we think about her from tradition might not be accurate. For example, most people will think of her as a prostitute, because that's the way that it's translated, and that's the way that that is the way that the New Testament speaks about Rahab. But it's interesting that most Jewish tradition around the first century understood her to be what's the word I'm trying to say? An innkeeper. There we go. Not a prostitute, because the word that is translated prostitute is actually can mean innkeeper, which it's more of a scholarly thing, but that's why some people think the author of Hebrews wasn't a Jerusalem Jew, because they would have known something like as specific as that. But I think that really shades the way that we understand that this character, because whenever we take characters that are these strong characters and then we kind of reduce them to something that we view as negative, that really it shapes the way that we think about the person, and that just might not actually be the person that Rahab was. So those are my quick thoughts on the person of the week that I've been doing all summer. So I look forward to Barbara speaking on her. And one more thing that I want to share before I do go is I want to talk about honestly, I just want to talk about taking care of yourself. I kind of talked about this last week, but I sent out an email to everyone who is working or is participating in services over the next couple weeks and over the past couple weeks. And I wanted to reiterate that being part of the church needs to not come at the detriment of your mental health. And I really stand behind that, because I know it's not everyone's experience, but a lot of times in my own experience, I have felt the pressure to take part in something because it is church related. I feel like I have responsibility to it, and it has been a choice that I've made to put my own mental health at risk in order to maintain what I'm perceived as like a responsibility that I have to have. And I really kind of want to just reiterate, especially like we are a year and a half into a pandemic. We are refiguring out what it means to be a church. We feel like we're almost through this pandemic and it's not actually gone yet. Like, there is a lot going on. I don't want church to be something that adds to your list of stressors, that adds to your list of things that are detrimental to your mental health. because the church needs to be about caring for people. It needs to be about healing and being a community. But the church can't be that if we aren't taking care of all aspects of ourselves. So I put out to people serving in the church, if for any reason anybody feels like they need to not take part in something because they don't want to risk being around others because of the rise in COVID, or because the stress, or just because the stress of being around others in this time, it is not putting yourself at risk. And I think a lot of times we will put ourselves mentally at risk whenever we can justify our physical bodies being safe, and that's just not okay. And as a church, we can't be about that. We have to be a place of safety for all people, regardless of what level they're serving or joining. So, and that is the little message that I want to share to you. Please, everyone, take care of yourself, okay? If you need to take a break, take a break. If you need to step back, step back. There is no handbook on how to deal with the times that we're going through. I am almost through seminary. I did 4 years of Bible college. Not a single class talked about how to make it through ministry while a 1.5-year long pandemic is going on. They just don't cover that. There's no books to read, no papers to write on ministering through a pandemic. And so we're all kind of just making it up as we go along. And that's kind of the beauty of being part of a church and being part of a community, is that we give ourselves that space to be able to do that. But at the same time, we need to allow people to have their own barriers, their own space, and to be able to take care of themselves. So that's the message that I want to share with everyone. Please take care of yourselves. Things are not easy. The last year has been one of challenge and loss and struggle. We need to take care of each other and ourselves. Okay, that's all I got. I'll get off my soapbox on that one. I see that Ruth did chime in. The Chalice Thrift is having their grand reopening this Saturday, so that is going to happen. If I remember off the top of my head, it is 10 to 2. There's a sign outside the Chalice Thrift, so you can drive by and see that, or if I cross my fingers, Ruth, who's been commenting throughout this video, will probably post the times. There it is. Thanks, Ruth. As always, mask up when you go, social distance, all those things. That's all I have. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I look forward to joining in the service this Sunday after being out for a couple weeks, recovering, and honestly, mostly just giving people space, because luckily I did not. We recognized the fact that there was COVID in the house very quickly, and I was never at church around anybody else after being exposed, and so I'm very happy about that. But that's why I was gone the last couple weeks, because I was sick for at least one of the Sundays, and I was quarantining the other one. But I look forward to being back. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.